G'day folks, the trend is your friend, and the trend is what's going to make you a lot of money in the stock market. And I have discovered something with my favorite growth stock right now, of course, being Facebook, the Metaverse, and just some data that I was running last night that made me so bullish that this morning I couldn't help myself, guys. I went ahead and I bought another 5 shares of Facebook in my corporate account. I have a total share count now of about 60 shares between my regular brokerage and the corporate account here, where I now have 40 shares of Facebook. Now, I'm going to break this down for you guys because these numbers are absolutely incredible to me, and I just can't figure out why nobody is pointing this out. Like, nobody is talking about it. Maybe Gary Vee is mentioning it a few times, but let's get right into this because the first thing we have to start off with is Google Trends. I am showing you 3 Google Trends around Facebook's products here with the Oculus, the Quest 2, which is the Oculus, just another search term, and then, of course, the Metaverse, right? And when we take a look at these trends, guys, first of all, the Metaverse just hit a new explosion level that has never been seen before, followed by this yellow line. But when we look at the history of Oculus and Quest 2, we can see year over year they have these cyclical bumps, but they've always been growing in popularity, leading up to this year, guys, where we've seen the most popularity over year than we have. And we just spiked coming into the Christmas after all of these videos, Mark Zuckerberg and all this stuff going on. And we can see that the Quest 2 has hit an all-time high, being that red line. What does this mean? Well, this means we have data. We can run numbers. We can do math. We can see these products, how they're performing. Now, first of all, if you don't know anything about these products, guys, this is why I'm so bullish on Facebook's Metaverse, because I'm using their product, the Quest 2, right here for $299. Look at the rating on this, 4.5 star rating. It has the most stars out of all the other platforms that exist, and the only competitor by price point next to them right now is the Sony PlayStation VR, and it does cost more, not by much, but I've heard there's a lot of issues with it. I've heard the worst things about the PlayStation version because it overheats and stuff. But take a look. All the other competitors are trading in the $1,000+ range, like absurd amounts of money. So Facebook, for a price point to the retail audience, check mark. Unbelievable, incredible price point, right? And after using it, I can give it an easy 4.5, 5-star rating. So let's talk about YouTube search traffic here. When I'm looking up videos of people that might find things interesting around the Oculus, like 10 Quest 2 life hacks, we can see this video almost has 1 million views from April 26. Astounding the amount of views these videos are getting. 200K, 60,000, 90,000. And when we go back and we look at some of the old videos where Zuckerberg was talking about Oculus 5 years ago, I mean, barely pulling 20,000 views versus the videos he's posting now that are getting, like, you know, the one with what, Gary Vee, millions of views, things of that nature. So let's talk about the sales that we currently know exist with this product. I mean, as of Q1, I don't know where Statista found this data, but this is what we're going off of right now, that they sold 850,000 units in Q4 of 2020, Christmas time last year, 1 million units, right? Insane. But because we know the volume is up this year, oh, not the right chart. Now that we know the volume is up here, guys, we can presume that those sales numbers, considering this would have been the end of 2020, that last quarter, which we can see had some great sales hitting 1 million here, right? But take a look at the Quest 2 back here. It's higher than it was in that time period. So I can only presume that the sales are better now. So let's run a little bit of math. Let's say on average, I'm going to make a prediction here that they're going to sell 5 million units. I'm thinking they're going to do better than that, but let's just say 5 million units just to make the numbers easy, right? If we do 5 million times $400, because, I mean, there's sales tax, there is a more expensive version of the Oculus, people doing in-game purchases. So $300, and I think the higher one is like 500. So we're going to take the in-between price point here of about 400 just to make it simple math. Obviously, there's a lot of variables with those in-app purchases, but take a look. That's $2 billion that they would be making off Oculus this year. And when we actually go into their third quarter financials, take a look at the other. I really wish they would show us the direct Oculus sales, but when we see other below advertising, because people think Facebook is just an advertising company, this year, in this, look at this, the 3-month end of September 30th, they did $734 million in sales on some kind of other product, which isn't mentioned in here or really broken down. And that's a growth rate of 195% over last year. So we can presume if we times that out over, you know, over a 4-month period here, guys, or a 4-quarter period, not a 4-month period. I mean, take a look at that. That's what? That's what, $2.5–3 billion in revenue here that I can only presume is largely coming from the Oculus, and something tells me this is just the start. These numbers are insane. If they can get to $1 billion a quarter in revenue. I mean, that is getting really great with their advertising numbers. I mean, they're starting to grow this business to being an actual impactful difference on that bottom line. And I don't see anybody talking about this growth right now. And then let's talk about valuation. Forget that side of it. I mean, if we want to talk just advertising business from 21 billion to 28 billion, 33% increase. We'll see if it continues into the following year. But let's just talk about math. Basic math formulas that are overvalued. I mean, all of these top weighted companies are slightly, well, fairly overvalued at this point, but let's just talk about it in comparison, right? With Facebook's peers, all of their peers on the S&P top 10. Take a look at this. Facebook is still trading down 12% with a PE of 23. Let's take a look at all the peers. Apple sitting at the top, sitting at an all-time high with a PE of 31. Microsoft sitting only down 2% from its all-time high with a PE of 37. Amazon sitting near its all-time high here, guys, with a PE of 68. And then finally, Google here sitting at a PE of 28, sitting at its all-time high. If everything I'm showing you doesn't speak that you should only really be buying Facebook, not only from the valuation standpoint, but the fact that like these trends are your friends and they're continuing to be all-time high trends from Google. I mean, I'm just getting more and more bullish on Facebook stock. So instead of buying dividend stocks like I usually would this morning, I went ahead and I bought another 5 shares of Facebook. I really rounded out those 60 shares positions. It's becoming a little bit of a bigger position now. I said I really wanted Facebook to be the largest position in my portfolio, but the only way I would be able to achieve that right now is probably by selling Tesla down or something like that, which I may consider into the new year. But for now, I'm happy with where that position sits. Probably not going to be buying too much more, but I said that before, and every time I come back to these numbers and look through this stuff, I'm immediately bullish again, and I really don't want to put my money anywhere else, and like the dumpster fires that we're seeing everywhere else for growth stocks. I think Facebook's a good parking place for me right now. But I pass the question off to you. What do you guys think about this in that comment section below? And in light of this, stay cool, stay awesome, and I look forward to catching you tomorrow.